everyone, so let's move towards our today's topic, which is
let's move towards the topic that is visual pathway. Okay, the physiology of visual pathway. Now we have already discussed, as we all know, that the visual means vision and the pathway means the path. Okay, and the pathway basically it is like the pathway, the track, the direction, the route of the vision inside our brain. The visual information which is traveling, which is transmitting in our brain, is called as visual pathway. Now how it occurs? Now we all know that we consist of two eyes, okay, on each side of the head, okay, in each side of the orbit. In each orbit we consist of eye, and that eye is connected posteriorly with an optic nerve. Now you have to understand that optic nerve is connected with the eyeball, as well as it is also connected, it is basically transmitting the visual information to the occipital part, which is also known as visual cortex, okay, which is present near the occipital part. So that part is supplied by that part, the information, the visual information will be transmitted in that part, okay. Now we all know, like I said, we all know that optic nerve is present posterior to the eyeball, that both the optic nerve of both the eyeball is connecting at the optic chiasma, and from that point it is further divided on each side, and then it will enter into the lateral geniculate body, which is present on the dorsal side of the thalamus, and then it transmits the visual information to the visual cortex. So this is the whole pathway, visual pathway, but we will discuss in detail as well. Now moving in detail, what is present inside the optic nerve? Obviously axons are present, okay. Axons are present, neurons are present, neurons consist of axons. So what happened? The axon, okay, listen this carefully. The axon is present on the right side of the eyeball. I am talking about each eyeball, okay, both the eyeballs. The left side of each eyeball consists of optic nerve, again axon of optic nerve, and the right side of the optic eyeball also consists of the axon of optic nerve, okay. Now you have to understand that which side is detecting the visual area, okay. हम अभी क्या देख रहे हैं अपनी आंखों के सामने? हम जो एरिया देख रहे हैं, जो चीज़ हम देख रहे हैं, जो ऑब्जेक्ट्स हम देख रहे हैं, दैट इज़ फॉर्मिंग अ विजुअल एरिया, दैट इज़ नोन एज विजुअल कॉर्टेक्स, विजुअल एरिया और विजुअल सीन, ओके. सो दैट इज़ विजुअल एरिया विच वी आर विच दैट इंफॉर्मेशन के भाई कौन सा ऑब्जेक्ट पड़ा हुआ है. फॉर सपोज अभी आपके सामने गाड़ी आपको नज़र आ रही है, कार नज़र आ रही है, तो कार की इंफॉर्मेशन आपके दिमाग में जा रही है, आपके माइंड में जा रही है, और वो कैसे जा रही है? वो आई बॉल के थ्रू ट्रांसमिट हो रही है इंफॉर्मेशन टू द विजुअल कॉर्टेक्स, विच इज़ प्रेजेंट नियर द ऑक्सीपिटल पार्ट, ओके. नाउ to understand, to make a concept, I have drawn a diagram which is also present in the Easy Medical book volume 2. So that diagram is very, very important, okay. Now what is that diagram? This diagram is like, I have made a visual field in which car is present and a house is present, okay, and road is present, okay. Now this diagram, this is the visual area, that means a person is watching that visual scene, visual field, okay. Now the right side, like I said, each eyeball consists of right and the left axon, on the right and the left side of each eyeball, axons of optic nerve will be present. Now the diagram is indicating the direction, okay. It's not a proper diagram, but it's just to make the concept. You will easily see that the right side, okay, the right side of each eyeball is visualizing the left side. It is basically, in other words, it is in opposite in direction. It is visualizing the opposite side, so it is getting the information of the right side of the a visual field, and the left side of each eyeball is taking the visual information from the right side of the visual field. Okay, so that is when this is happening, that information will gather into the visual cortex, and that is forming the image. And then we see that the car is also present, and we in and by through our eyes we can say that a car is present and a house is present. And what is the distance approximately जो डिस्टेंस होता है कार और गाड़ी का, कार और घर का, सही है, कार और हाउस का, ठीक है, तो वो भी हम एस्टिमेट कर लेते हैं कि भाई इतना डिफरेंस है, ज़्यादा डिफरेंस है, कम डिफरेंस है, कुछ मतलब पार्किंग में कितनी देर लगेगी, हम अक्सर आइडेंटिफाई कर लेते हैं कि भाई इस गाड़ी को घर तक पहुंचने में 2 मिनट लगेंगी. कैसे आइडेंटिफाई कर लेते हैं? क्योंकि हम देख रहे हैं. फॉर सपोज इफ़ वी आर वाचिंग दैट विजुअल एरिया, विजुअल सीन, यू कैन इजीली आइडेंटिफाई. हाउ दैट इज़ आइडेंटिफाइड इन आवर ब्रेन? इट इज़ आइडेंटिफाइड थ्रू आवर a visual pathway. Okay, and that is the visual pathway that I told you, that the right side will detect the left side of the visual field, and the left side of each eyeball will detect the right side of the visual field, and that whole information. Okay, now at the optic chiasma you will easily see that axons are crossing over each other. Okay, so the right side of the left eyeball, okay, the right axon of the left eyeball crosses at optic chiasma, and the left side of the right eyeball is crossing the it is basically moving towards the opposite side, towards the opposite optic tract. Basically after optic chiasma, two optic tracts are formed. Okay, so optic chiasma, at optic chiasma these are crossing over each other, but after the crossing they will synapse with the lateral geniculate body which is near the thalamus. ठीक है, थैलेमस के पास एक न्यू बॉडी होती है, लैटरल जेनिकुलेट बॉडी, जहाँ पे ये अपनी इंफॉर्मेशन को ट्रांसमिट करते हैं. एंड इन दैट एरिया लेयर्स आर प्रेजेंट, लाइक एज यू नो दैट 6 लेयर्स आर प्रेजेंट इन द होल सेरिब्रल कॉर्टेक्स. सेम लाइक दैट लैटरल जेनिकुलेट बॉडी में भी कुछ सेल्स कुछ लेयर्स होती हैं, 6 लेयर्स होती हैं, तो वो लेयर्स में जाती हैं, एंड देन इट विल फर्दर ट्रांसमिट टू द विजुअल कॉर्टेक्स. ओके, नाउ visual cortex are further divided into 2 parts, primary and secondary visual cortex. We will discuss after few seconds, but the point is that this is the whole visual pathway. Okay, this is basically, this consists of optic nerve. Okay, and in this optic nerve 2 types of cells are present, M cells and P cells, and we will discuss after this topic. Okay, but before that you have to understand the layers of the lateral geniculate body. Like I said, the whole cerebral cortex consists of 6 layers. Okay, now the layer 1, obviously cerebral cortex is consists of 6 layers, so same like that as lateral geniculate body will also consist of 6 layers. So the layer 1 and the layer 2 of the lateral geniculate body, we are talking about the lateral geniculate body. So layer 1 and layer 2 are called as magnocellular layers. Okay, and it consists of M for magnocellular layers, M for M cells, so that's why they are called as magnocellular layers, because it consists of M cells. And what are M cells? M for magno, mega. These words are somewhat like similar in pronunciation, so you can easily say that the M cells are large neuronal cells. Okay, and one more thing which is very much important, that these M cells are transmitting the black and white visual information to the cortex. Okay, they are not transmitting the colored information. Okay, but if I talk about कि आप M cells को निकालो और M cell से पूछो, फॉर सपोज आप एम सेल्स की इंफॉर्मेशन देखो कि भाई एम सेल क्या डिटेक्ट कर रहा है, तो आप विजुअल फील्ड तो देख रहे हो, आप कार और हाउस तो देख रहे हो, रोड भी देख रहे हो, बट यू कैन सी दैट ब्लैक एंड वाइट. बट if I talk about layer 3 and layer 4, which consist of P cells, that why these layers are called as parvocellular layers, and these are medium neuronal cells, so they will detect the colored information of the cortex. Okay, so these both cells, M cells and P cells, are working together. That's why we are watching a clear visual scene. Okay, now moving toward the visual cortex, which is near the occipital lobe. Now it consists of two parts: primary visual cortex and the secondary visual cortex. The primary visual cortex, what is primary visual cortex? It is present it is located in the calcarine fissure area, and this area is situated in the appearance this area is striated in appearance. Okay, striated means lines are present. Striated, like we have already discussed about, so striated muscle, same like that. This area, primary visual cortex, is striated in appearance. That's why it is called a striate area as well, and it is visual area 1. Okay, now we have discussed that cerebral cortex consists of 6 layers, same like that lateral geniculate body consists of 6 layers, and same like lateral geniculate body, this primary visual cortex also consists of 6 layers. But in this primary visual cortex, the most important thing and the difference between the cerebral cortex, the layers of the cerebral cortex and the layers of the primary visual area, is that the fourth layer of the primary visual cortex is further divided into A, B and C. 4A, 4B, 4C, and the 4C is further subdivided into 4C alpha and 4C beta. And these whole layers, these layers are basically arranged in a vertical columns. Okay, and that columns consist of will detect the information, will take the information in parts. Okay, some part will be detected through from some layers. Okay, from layer 1, for suppose layer 1 will detect some part of the visual area, layer 2 will detect another area of the visual area, and then these all separated information which are not gathered right now, but that information will gathered into the secondary visual cortex, which is present near the primary visual cortex, or in other words, the secondary visual cortex is present anterior to the primary visual cortex. So that whole information which is not in a gathered form, which is not organized, but that information will somehow transmit to the primary visual cortex, and then it will move towards the secondary visual cortex. Okay, now primary visual cortex, like I said, it is also called as visual area 1 and striate area, same like that. Secondary visual cortex is also known as visual association area. Now what does it mean? Association is somewhat like organization. So here, like I said, organize the visual information will be organized. Okay, the in Guyton book, it's written that analysis of visual meanings. Okay, this area is for analysis of visual meanings, but in very easy language, it is like that whole information which is not organized will be organized here, and we will say we will get a clear image of the visual area. Okay, now in secondary visual cortex, two types of analysis occur. One is motion or position of the object. That means कि कितनी speed से गाड़ी जा रही है. For suppose if I'm just giving an example of car and a house. Okay, तो कितनी स्पीड से कार मूव कर रही है, अप्रॉक्स हम अंदाज़ा लगा लेते हैं कि तेज़ जा रही है, स्लो जा रही है. That is due to that is occurring in the take place in the secondary visual cortex. And the position of the object, ठीक है, कहाँ पर है गाड़ी, रोड पे चल रही है या रोड के थोड़ा दूर चल रही है, गाड़ी कहाँ मूव कर रही है. अगर हम ये ऑब्जेक्ट की पोजीशन और मोशन डिटेक्ट कर पा रहे हैं, दैट इज़ ड्यू टू द सेकेंडरी विजुअल कॉर्टेक्स. एंड द सेकेंड थिंग इज कलर एंड द टेक्सचर ऑफ द ऑब्जेक्ट. व्हाट इज द कलर ऑफ द, like I said, color and texture are due to the P cells. Okay, now color and texture of the object cells are also organized in this area, secondary visual cortex. That कलर क्या है, घर का कलर क्या है, घर का टेक्सचर कैसा है, गाड़ी का टेक्सचर कैसा है, गाड़ी कौन सी है, गाड़ी का कलर कौन सा है, ब्लू है, रेड है, येलो है. सो दैट इज़ ड्यू टू द that is organized in the secondary visual cortex. So this was the whole topic regarding the cortex and the visual pathway. Till then, work hard, study hard, and good luck. Take care. Bye bye. Thank you.